Men with stay at home wives are more sexist than men with working wives, the lawyer said, declaring her views on gender relations to the Twitterverse. Men don't assess women's workplace contributions fairly, and they are less likely to hire and promote women.
You crazy.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca, and today we're going to be looking at an article from the New York Post. This article's title says, Stay at home moms breed worse, more sexist men. Apparently, we're pretty bad. Stay at home moms are the worst kind of moms. Okay, so before we jump into this video, guys, please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't, and let's get into it. All right, so this article was recently written in April of this year. So we're going to jump right into it. Controversial feminist author Jill Filipovic, I don't know how to say her name, I apologize, is preaching overwhelmingly negative consequences of stay at home moms, and social media watchdogs are coming for her. Filipovic, 38, detailed her stance that these mothers create worse, more sexist men and women who are psychologically and emotionally worse off in a now viral thread published on Tuesday. Expanding on her last Substack essay, It's a Bad Idea to Pay Women to Stay at Home, the Brooklyn based lawyer tweeted her thoughts on the subject in response to a recent New York Times guest column espousing the merits of paying parents to stay at home. The problem with paying people to stay at home with kids, though, is that one, we're overwhelmingly not talking about people, we're talking about mothers. And two, pushing women out of work comes with overwhelmingly negative consequences, begins the thread of the outspoken author of the 2020 book, Okay Boomer, Let's Talk How My Generation Got Left Behind. Filipovic noted that families that are set up in a more traditional sense, aka per her thread, the carer earner nuclear family model, is a historical oddity that is tremendously isolating and often financially devastating for the carer, almost always women. It also reinforces the gender division of labor, which ripples out to all women, she continued. She then recommended a robust social welfare state instead of paying mothers a small stipend. Isn't it funny that feminists will preach for a woman to receive governmental assistance instead of getting assistance from her own husband and creating a strong nuclear family? That's because feminists, leftists, woke people, whoever you want to label them as, right? They want the destruction of the nuclear family. They don't want mothers to be in the house. They don't want fathers to be involved in the family. Why? Because children will grow up and be a part of the state. They will be indoctrinated by the state. The families will be paid by the state. The family is now owned by the state. That's why when you see kids going to school and parents looking like bewildered to why their kids are saying these types of things and basically spewing out leftist ideology, it's because you basically handed them to the state to indoctrinate instead of doing it yourself. And I understand that families are a little bit different these days. It is more expensive to raise children and with inflation and everything else. That's why there's such a attack on the nuclear family and homeschooling kids, because they don't want kids to think for themselves. They don't want families to indoctrinate their own kids. They want the state to do it because they know that the outcome will be a participating member in society. They will vote the way that the government wants them to vote. They'll be compliant. They want citizens to be compliant so that they can continue to do what they're doing and have no pushback. At this point, it is so blatant. She's telling you right here. She says it reinforces the gender division of labor, which ripples out to all women, she continued. She then recommended a robust social welfare state. They are not being quiet about this anymore. They want the government to be the baby daddy. They want the government to be the husband, the father. Okay. That's what taking men out of the home will do. It will make women reliant on the state. This is not empowering. This is not women fighting for justice or anything like that. This is literally handing yourself and your family to the state. Being at home doesn't mean that you can't do anything else, that you have no life, that you are nothing else other than a mother or a caregiver or whatever they want to call it. There are plenty of women that work from home that actually have part time jobs and that contribute to the household income without actually leaving the household, without actually going to work and having childcare provided for her kids. There are plenty of mothers out there. You can see them on Instagram, you can see them on YouTube, right? And have built successful businesses from the comfort of their own home. The difference between a career woman and a stay at home mom or a woman who believes in traditional values is the fact that a career woman will literally put her job on the pedestal. Whereas I'm going to attend to my family first, and then I can get to my job. I can get to my part time work. Women have the ability to multitask and do things at the same time. Give you an example. At this current moment, my daughter is here, right? She's playing. You might hear some sounds in the background. I have dinner already made in the crock pot and the laundry done while I'm filming. You can't tell me that women can't do it. It's being intentional with your time and allocating your time effectively. And that's what women do. To say that stay at home moms are so oppressed and that we have nothing to look out for and that if our husbands leave us we'll have nothing left. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many skills that women acquire in the home that if God forbid that were to ever happen or that your husband passes away, right? You would take the skills that you've learned in the household and it easily translates to the workplace. Or many women that are stay-at-home moms are actually very entrepreneurial. They do little side projects. They sell things on Etsy. They make Instagram courses and YouTube courses and have consultancy work that they do. I find it very belittling that women will just put a stay-at-home mom down on a different level and say that we're moving time back and that we're creating sexist men because we're not letting our kids being indoctrinated by the state. Like it's fascinating to me that these women, the same women that will probably never marry, that will probably never have children, they're telling us how staying at home and being a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home mom is oppressive. Baby girl, you've never been there. So you can't tell me that you're oppressed. And if that's the case, maybe it's not the majority of women. Maybe that's your particular situation. And that's because maybe you selected the wrong person to marry. Men with stay at home wives are more sexist than men with working wives, the lawyer said, declaring her views on gender relations to the Twitterverse. Men don't assess women's workplace contributions fairly, and they are less likely to hire and promote women. There are so many incentives and programs to hire and promote women, especially from within. It's like a woman will be promoted before a white man is promoted. Actually, white men are on the bottom of the totem pole these days unless they are running the actual company. There are job posts and listings that will say, looking for a woman, woman of color, person of color, LGBTQ. They want these people in their organizations over white men. So, again, this is absolute bullshit, like just straight up. Filipovic claimed that stay at home mothers are psychologically and emotionally worse off than working mothers by just about every measure. She alleged that these moms suffer from anger, depression, and anxiety. This is quite literally the furthest thing from the truth. In fact, there are more stats that say that working women, right, single working women are worse off and are more depressed 2 to 1. Women are more depressed than they've ever been before than men, right? And women are drinking on par 1 to 1 with men. I would love to see where she's pulling these stats from because I can tell you that she's talking straight out of her you know what. Okay. The Seattle native concluded that the power that be should just give people a little extra money when they have babies and don't consign people to living in poverty. Filipovic asserted that several European countries have paid child payments, and that makes sense. So you want the government to pay off all your college loans, right? You want free universal health care. You want all of these things. Who is paying for that? Who is paying for that? Is it another country? Is it is it Joe Biden? Who's paying for this stuff? Guess what? It comes out of our pockets, the US citizen. So this sounds all fun and dandy and nice to have. Of course, it's nice to have payments if you have a kid. Of course, that would be so nice if I got a stipend for my daughter, but that's not realistic. And the countries that do that, like South Korea, they're now paying women to have babies is because they have a shortage of children. They have a shortage of the next generation. And so they're incentivizing women and families to have children again. We're going to read a little bit more here. Some commenters on the social media platform agreed with the author's point of view, while many others dove into hardcore defenses of a woman's right to choose stay at home motherhood over a career. Again, where like these are feminists that are saying this, right? She's a staunch feminist. Isn't feminism about the right to choose? About my right to choose to stay at home and your right to choose to work? So, why is it that my decision to stay at home and take care of my family and do YouTube videos is deemed less than or just completely shunned in society, where her being a lawyer, right, a high powered lawyer, that's praised in society? Explain to me how that works if feminism is what you're going off of. It's really fascinating to me that these women who talk about stay at home wives, traditional lifestyles, right? They've never even lived that life. They're not coming from a place of understanding or I've been there. They're coming from this hypothetical place, this this concoction that they've created in their head about what a stay-at-home woman looks like, what a stay-at-home wife looks like. They paint us to be these deviants in society, that we want to homeschool our children and that our children are going to be indoctrinated at some point. So why not be indoctrinated with our values and our morals? The modern woman wants to be selfish. She wants to have her options. She wants to do whatever she wants to do. And then she ends up crying and blaming other people for her bad decisions. You made that decision. So you have to live with the consequences. So these women will talk a big game, but they have nothing to back it up. This is what you have to look at when you hear these things, because this is what feminists do. They talk a big game, but they have nothing to back it up. That is my video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I will see you in my next video.